Okay. Uh, uh, okay. 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 Yeah. Yeah. I've opened it. I've opened it. It's open. It is. It is live. It is live. It is live. It is live. Yeah, it is doing. It is live streaming right now. Can you check the YouTube, please? Just go to their from your phone itself. Go to Chrome. Go to YouTube and see if they are live right now. It is. Hang on. Let me just URL also. I am. You can see my entire screen now. You can see me going through different streams. Yeah, the studio. I'm in the studio. Uh, Correct. I can see that now. I can see. I can see. It is showing something I did. Yeah, yeah. It is not even 5. I think it is around 10-15 seconds. Okay. Yeah. So now, how do I share this stream to the client? Where is the streaming link? Pop out dashboard, pause. Ah, customization, on off live chat. Nobody is there to live chat. So I'll go enable the live stream. You can see me now. I'm just looking at where I can highlight video. How do I share the live stream? You are the concurrent viewer. Ah, ah. Uh-huh. Yeah, it is capturing.
Thanking this team for supporting us right through and being with us all along, guiding us. It's my privilege to request Dr. Nandini Maestro to say a few words about the history of the society as the opening remarks for this evening. Sir,
We all respected director, good evening to all respected director, Kasha Kappa, Mrs. Kaman, respected guest, Murad Lala, my dear, other, and all the is from inception till now about the Kacha Cancer Hospital. Now, this Kacha Cancer Hospital Society is one of the most successful philanthropic, charitable, non-profit, and non-government organizations in health services sector in the state of Assam, India. The society believes in service to man is service to God. The society is an outgroup of family of the people who experience and so immense problems and difficulties of fellow human beings suffering from cancer, patients of early years, not diseases, age, and particularly of the Barak Valley of Assam, where seldom diagnosed at the first stage of the dreaded disease for want of health awareness and facility at the land. And so he had to rush in at distant places like Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai, Chennai, etc. for treatment. But mostly when they used to reach for better care, it was too late, particularly detected in the stage 3 or 4. Families of this cancer patient had to undertake a long journey and to pay a huge amount to travel No problem. Silchar, NIV, Silchar Medical College, Anada. I think it's gone that side. Run by the Silchar Cancer Society. Mission, we are a non-profit organization that provides comprehensive cancer care to people, especially the underserved, through prevention, treatment, prevention, education, and research.
கிடைச்சதா
Come a stage of the
இல்லையா
heart
it should be
cancer
method இந்த பக்கம் இல்ல
and individual development cancer that can be prevented. That no patient is denied
இல்ல
appropriate
இல்ல
cancer
நான் பாத்துக்கோ
treatment, but
டெரஸ்ல இருக்கா
that no patient dies of indignity, and that no family suffers treatment-induced poverty and grief. Beginning of diagnosis and treatment was made possible with the services of the local medical fraternity. Dr. Chinma Chaudhary, MS DLO, shouldered the responsibility of the hospital honorary director in addition to his burden of general secretary of Kachar Cancer Hospital Society. He continued as the director till the middle of 2007, that is from February 1996 to June 2007, with full cooperation of the local medical fraternity and those who came from other places. You are succeeded by Dr. Ravi Kannan, MS, MC, Oncosurgery. Dr. Kannan is a well-known oncologist in India who sacrificed his profession in Cancer Institute, Adian, Chennai City, and shifted to Silchar to serve people of this locality and to follow Kachar Cancer Hospital Society. Dr. Ravi Kannan invited and gathered a team of dedicated specialists, doctors, technicians, and has been improving Kachar Cancer Hospital Research Center in all dominions, all dimensions, with full support from Kachar Cancer Hospital Society. He has been honored with Padma Shri by the Honorable President of India for his humanitarian services in this part of the country. Of late, Dr. Ravi Kannan has been declared as one of the recipients of prestigious Magsaysay Award for his service of humanity for this society-run hospital. Dr. Ritesh Tapke, MSMC, has been serving as the Deputy Director of Kachar Cancer Hospital Research Center. Other long-time specialists are Dr. K.V. Chakraborty, Dr. Gopal Datta, Dr. Paulome Mukherjee, besides many medical personalities. At the initial stage, some cancer specialists from outside the Assam used to visit Kachar Cancer Hospital and Research Center to see patients and to provide prescriptions and advices. Frequent visitors were Dr. Sharma Ganguly of Akurpukur Cancer Hospital, Kolkata. On request, Dr. Ravi Kannan visited the hospital from Chennai to make complicated surgical operations. Without taking any professional charges. The first ambulance was donated by Vijay Bank, followed by others. Special mention is reserved by respected Kalipankar Chakraborty, a member of the Kachar Cancer Hospital Society and a retired civil surgeon of the staff, who has been rendering purely honorary services to the hospital with wisdom, sincerity, integrity, and culture since the inception of the hospital. Other doctoral members of Cancer Cancer Society, most of them are specialists in different medical branches, rendered honorary services till the arrival of Dr. Ravikandan and Dr. Hesipal, member of Cancer Cancer Hospital and CNC specialist, regular visit was to be on render services. Dr. Pradeep Raj, retired National Director of Health, did her service for about 2 decades. Specialists of different medical sciences who are members of Cancer Cancer Hospital do respond to the call of hospital whenever desired by Dr. Kannan. Sri Kalyan Chakraborty, a retired teacher, helped the hospital in seeing our problems faced by the patients and the hospital for a long time. Now, Cancer Cancer Hospital Research Center is one of the most well-equipped and patient-friendly cancer hospitals in the Northeast India and is run by a non-profit NGO in Cancer Cancer Hospital Society. It is the satellite center to patients from Borak Valley, surrounding Hill District, Manipur, Tripura, Mizoram, Meghalaya, and different places of Brahmaputra Valley and beyond, and even from Bangladesh and Myanmar, came to this hospital for modern treatment in cancer at affordable cost, even subsidized and free of charge. All valid health cards, including PMKY card, issued by the that's the advanced cancer center. Cancer Cancer Hospital and Cancer Hospital Research Center they can start either from the engineer or from the state government. For the or future. Research Center and Education. The Research Center is known as Dr. K. Krishnamurthy Center for Research and Education, which was inaugurated by Colmog Future Dr. G. Shanta, Chairperson, Cancer Institute, Chennai on February 10, 2030. Dr. S. Krishnamurthy was a doyen in oncology and a fellow of the Royal Cancer Hospital, London, a promotion recipient of 1956, a great medical scientist and a teacher of India. He has advanced laboratory, scientific committee, and institutional research board. It has tie-up with universities and national research organizations, many researchers, teachers, doctoral research, and project work of investigation on cancer effects. There are many ongoing research work in this center. Now, education program include training programs for several for surgical oncology. Accredited to National Board of Medical Examination for DNB in oncology at 3 years course. Number 2, fellowship in oral oncology, accredited to AOMSI, accreditation of oral and maxillofacial surgeons of India, a 2 years course after MDS. Post-basic diploma in nursing oncology, a 2 years course after BSc in nursing or general nursing school commission. Certificate course in essential palliative care for doctors and nurses. The special course in medical technology are held in intervals. events of highlight. So this institution carried out some of the important events. One is International Conference on Cancer Research, Prevention and Treatment was held in Silchar Cancer Research Center during December 4, 2003 under the auspices of Cancer Hospital Society. It was supported by LIC, Atomic Energy Commission and other organizations. Dr. Dilip Bhattacharya, a reputed scientist of our Atomic Research Center, Mumbai, acted as the chief advisor and foreign coordinator of the event. Scientists, specialists, and researchers from many countries like Japan, Russia, Israel, Sri Lanka, Nepal, USA, UK, etc., besides from different organizations and universities in India, including Atomic Energy Commission, CCHRC, to participate in this celebration. Second is celebrated our glorious 20th anniversary of Qatar Cancer Hospital Society in 2014. Now, next is special lectures on different aspects of the cancer are arranged almost every year, and distinguished experts in the field are invited from Tata Memorial Center, Atomic Energy Commission, Cancer Institute, Adia, Chennai, and other places to enlighten the person involved in prevention, treatment, and care of people. Foreign specialists and researchers from different countries like Australia, UK, USA may visit in this hospital and share experiences. Now, facilities available here. One is diagnosis of cancer in short time and screening with most modern equipment, Trojan section testing, mammogram, HPV testing for cervical cancer, head and neck cancer, colon cancer, CT scan, and other radiological and pathological investigations, etc. are made by experts. Now, cancer surgery. All cancer surgery, including MICS, minimal invasive cancer surgery, cosmetic breast cancer surgery, microvascular reconstructive surgery, esophagus reconstructive surgery, etc. Chemotherapy, it has been being done since the inception of this hospital. Radiotherapy with cobalt 780E, line and brachytherapy. Nuclear medicine, including gamma camera, PET, CT. Modern blood bank with facility to separate plasma. The blood bank won the first prize from Government of Assam. Pediatric cancer treatment, palliative care, then facility of advanced molecular research laboratory, intensive care unit, one-time registration and fee for treatment without paying subsequent consultation and care. Then Prime Minister Ayush Yojana card and state government medical cards are entertained. Services in satellite centers are now available in Labar, Karimganj and Lala. A double satellite center is going to be established at Paragraph, Karimganj district. House-to-house visit services were possible by 3 medical persons free of cost. Now, community awareness and screening project. Then next is medical education courses on oncology that is started earlier. Research on oncology in collaboration with national organization and university. Next is subsidized canteen with Jonathan Mill facility for patients and attendants. Now, in-house pharmacy service at low cost and indoor beds, including ICU and palliative care. Now, this is I can't say in short, almost in details, we will start all about whatever we will achieve from front field about the Kacha Cancer Research Center, particularly under the umbrella of Kacha Cancer Hospital and Hospital Society. Now we will conclude. Thank you all for presence here.
Thank you, Dr. Nandi Castro, for taking us through the journey of the Kachar Cancer Hospital Society, which established Kachar Cancer Hospital and Research Center several years ago. I would like to say a word of thanks and acknowledge the presence of several organizations here, government organizations, non-government organizations, NGOs. We have guests from the defense services. We have guests and representatives from educational institutions, from the media. We have youngsters who are here from educational institutions, waiting to get inspired by Dr. Lala's adventure. And we want to thank each of you for being here, for accepting our request to be here, for supporting us. And I also want to add that our entire work goes on with a lot of vigor and energy and enthusiasm only because of this kind of support from the community. And we would like to acknowledge it, and I request all our staff to give an applause to all the community that were here, representatives of education who are here to continue to support us in our work. I now have the privilege of requesting Dr. Ravi Kannan, Director of Kachar Cancer Hospital Research Center, to present his remarks this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are reassembling for this program after a hiatus of 2 years because of COVID. And this is the first hospital day oration that is happening post COVID. So thank you very much for coming here at such short invitation. The growth of any organization, as Sita mentioned, happens because of collaboration between so many people, the staff and the organization in our society, the community, people like Murad and Gauri, so many of my colleagues from across the country and elsewhere who support us in many ways with their thoughts, with their expertise, with their time, with their criticism, with money, so many ways. And I think the growth has happened because of this human endeavor. People seen and unseen, heard and unseen, unheard, link hands together to improve life of fellow human beings on this planet. At some place or the other, there have been people who just read about us and have taken a leap of faith and supported us without having met us, without having come here, just a leap of faith on a newspaper article. And the challenges that the hospital is a product of a dream dreamt by citizens of this valley almost 30 years ago. And the challenges that they faced in the first 10 years and the solutions that they brought about were very different from the challenges that we are facing now in the last 10, 15, 18 years, and the solutions that we found for them. These are changed with time. And whatever has happened in the past is good because it helps us lay a foundation for the future. But it is the future to which we must look at. And as we look at the future, we have challenges in the organization that we are talking about. We have a new generation of professionals joining us who have not been part of the original struggle. And so their values, their thought processes are very different from people like us who have been here longer, and sometimes we come through as being very conservative when compared to younger people. And see, we realize that with time, the
the problems will change and the solutions will change, and we cannot lay down a prescription for the next 10, 15, 20 years. But then core values, some of these values are non-negotiable. So as an institution, all of us sat down together, wrote down what our core values will be, what we will do for each of these values, and what we will. And the challenge is to inculcate these values in every newcomer and to train them to train more newcomers in their turn. And so we hope that over the years, the character of the organization, the many things have changed, but the core values on which the hospital has been founded will not change because these, I think, are non-negotiable. As we go on, more hospitals will come up in this area. There will be hospitals for profit, and there will be hospitals like us, not for profit, and they will bring competition. It's so needed, which will actually help improve quality of care here. But they will also bring competition because they will look for the same workforce that we and people who have trained here sometimes will move on, and sometimes there may be a mass exodus, and we have to be prepared for it and deal with it without taking it adversely. This is very important for us. And then the third challenge that we will face in the coming years is ours is an organization that is very deeply rooted in the community. Everything that we do, our only yardstick is, will it help the man who's sick, who comes into the OPD? If it does not help him, then that's probably not worth doing. If it helps that person, then we will go all out to do it. But then there are, despite all the effort that we've taken to make cancer care affordable and acceptable, there are challenges of distance. Because of the geography, sometimes 10 kilometers may take more than 6 hours. And so we have to get out into the community. And for this, we are looking at putting up a network of cancer hospitals. The government of Tripura has come forward and offered us 15 acres of land to replicate this model at Tripura. But we're also looking at dotting the surrounding areas with daycare clinics, 6 beds with 7 or 8 staff that will do OPDs, that will do follow-up, that will do screening, that will do palliative care, deliver chemotherapy, more lot of things for which the patient does not have to travel here. Sometimes it is heartrending to see them spend so much of money to come and take some small tablets worth peanuts. And then we're also looking at putting up pet centers, pet prevention, early detection, palliative care, one man room, because there are communities there, they have only 80, 30 families, population of 2,000, 3,000, does not make sense to put up, it's not cost effective to put up a clinic or a hospital there. And so we are looking at one-man centers where they will be able to do prevention, they will be able to provide for early detection, palliative care, we do a surgery, they'll be able to remove sutures. So many things. But to make all of this happen, to integrate all of this intelligently on a computer network, to actually make it viable, requires a lot of patience, lot of effort, and lot of the ability to accept mistakes, learn from them, and move on instead of getting bogged down by something that does not work out. And so, as an organization that is going out into the next decade or 2 decades, these are the challenges, and I invite all of your thoughts to help us, negotiate through these problems as well as we can. Thank you very much for being here. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi Kannan. I missed mentioning, we also have several senior medical professionals amidst us here, and we appreciate your presence. Thank you very much. We now move on to an important part of this evening. I have the privilege of introducing Dr. Murad Lala to this audience here. Dr. Murad Lala is consultant and head of surgical oncology at PD Hinduja National Hospital, Mumbai. He has an MCH in surgical oncology from Kidwai Memorial Institute of Oncology. This was in the year 1996, the year that our hospital was set up, on this very day, on February 10th. He joined Tata as a fellow until 2001. Since then, he has been at PD Hinduja Hospital. He is a surgical oncologist with a focused interest in head and neck oncology. He's a member of a number of professional bodies, trained in various institutes abroad in the US and in Europe. He's published over 20 articles in peer-reviewed journals, has given over 200 talks in national and international conferences, and is a teacher and examiner for DNB in surgical oncology. We are truly, truly privileged to have you here amidst us, Dr. Lala. But now I switch gears. I'm going to talk to you about the other side of this gentleman. An ordinary person who had an extraordinary dream. Dr. Murad E. Lala, an alumni of the Lawrence School, Lovedale, is a cancer surgeon heading the Department of Surgical Oncology at PD Hinduja National Hospital, Mumbai, as I shared with you earlier. Young enough to seek adventure and mature enough not to be foolhardy, he believes in getting out of his comfort zone and pushing the envelope, and has made time away from his profession and challenged himself in other arenas of life to make himself a more mature and complete person. He dared to fail because he believed that if you have not stumbled, you have not tried hard enough. By becoming the first Indian civilian doctor to summit Mount Everest on 19 May 2013 at 9:10 a.m. He has just proved to himself what he always believed in. Limitations exist only in the human mind. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? We hear it all the time at the hospital. The cancer surgeon realizes that normality is a paved road. It is comfortable to walk on, but no flowers grow on it. Towards realizing his childhood dream of summiting Mount Everest, he completed the Triple Crown expedition in October 2012, in which he submitted three 20,000 feet peaks around Mount Everest. The 1 month long vigorous training in basic and advanced mountaineering, rock climbing, crevice rescue, and snowcraft geared him to take on the great challenge of summiting the highest point on Earth. Dr. Murad participated in the last degree ski expedition, where he skied to the geographic South Pole and reached on 27 December 2022. On 3rd January 2023, he summited Mount Vincent, the highest mountain in Antarctica. Dr. Lala has also submitted Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest freestanding mountain in the world, on 30th July 2023. That's not all, there's a long list. Some of his other extracurricular achievements are: he participated in the Raid the Himalaya, Himalayan Car Rally in 2007, 8, and 9. I have one more page to go. He was awarded the trophy for securing third in the car category in 2009, along with his wife, Dr. Mamata Lala, a pediatrician and an adventure sports enthusiast herself. I think that really helps. Basic and advanced Arctic polar training at Svalbard, Norway, January 2019. He participated in the 1,400 kilometers cyclothon race across Iceland in June 2017. I think we should wait till the end. We will keep clapping. He participated in the Standard Chartered Mumbai Half Marathon 2013, 14, and 17, and in the Navy Half Marathon in 2016. He's also done skydiving, bungee jumping, it scares me, parasailing, and whitewater rafting. In NCC, we have someone who heads an NCC unit here. He was All India Best Cadet in Airway, winner of Prime Minister's Gold Medal, represented India at Singapore and NCC India contingent, and a peace certificate holder. In flying, he's the holder of a private pilot's license. He also was a recipient of the Gold Medal Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme in 1981. So his brief bio ends with the quote, "The miracle is not that I submitted. The miracle is that I had the courage to take the first step." I am very, very happy to request Dr. Murad Lala to deliver the Hospital Day Oration of 2024. From scalpel to summit, my tryst with Everest. Dr. Lala.
Thank you. Mrs. Sita, thank you so much for those kind words, and thank you so much, Dr. Ravikandan, for inviting me here and giving me the honor of delivering the Hospital Day Oration. I'll just connect this. Can we add the lights off, at least the front lights off? In many ways, the journey I took up to Mount Everest, there's a lot of message in this. And in many times, as I was listening to the journey of Kachar Hospital, I realized that the obstacles that we faced are very similar. And even Dr. Ravikandan, I think, has, in his own way, faced this and frankly has achieved much, much more than what I have. Can you all see? So climbing a mountain is different from other sports. The only opponents that you face are the demons that play in your mind. The only goals that you can score are the limits that you set for yourself, whether it be the summit or anywhere else in between. There are no spectators to cheer you on. So many times it's a lonely battle of your mind versus the elements. So what is it about this mountain? We all know that it's the tallest point on the earth, but it's the longest duration. It takes at least 2 months if you want to successfully summit this mountain. There are no shortcuts. It's not like any other mountain where you go to the base and you keep climbing and climbing until you reach the summit. If you try that on Mount Everest, you'll neither reach the top nor will you come down. Many times it's a long waiting game. There's nothing you can do but wait it out in your tent for the blizzards to blow over, for the correct opportune moment to continue your climb. And Mount Everest, coming in at 29,000 feet, comes in within the jet streams. These jet streams are extremely strong winds that range across the earth with velocities of 200 to 300 kilometers an hour. And it's just a few days every year that these jet streams move higher and northwards towards China. And that's the time you have to make your summit push, reach the summit, and get back down before the jet streams come back. It is risky. Deaths and accidents are a reality on the mountains. A few years before COVID, this image was flashed across the world saying that Mount Everest has become the world's highest traffic jam. Looking at this image, it does appear so. But remember, this happened in the year 2018, I think, where the summit window, which is usually 2 to 3 weeks, happened to be compressed into just 3 or 4 days. So anyone who wanted to summit Mount Everest that year had to be exactly at this point if they wanted to make a successful bid at the summit, or else the entire year, their entire effort would have been wiped out. When I wanted to summit this mountain, I had a small problem. I had not done any serious mountaineering before this, and I applied in India, but was told I was too old because the basic and the advanced mountaineering courses generally have a cutoff age of 35 or 40 years, and I was going to be 50 years when I wanted to do this. So they didn't allow me. I scouted around abroad and found a group called Peak Freaks, which was a Canadian group, and they said, "You come with us to Nepal. You climb these three mountains in the range of 18, 19, and 20,000 feet. And when we were climbing these mountains, they taught us everything that we needed to know about icecraft, rope craft, crevice crossings, etc. And only after successfully doing this with them did they say, yes, you can come and make an attempt for the summit in the following year. He is Tim Ripple. He is teaching us how to use this cam-off bag. This sausage-like bag can be wrapped up into something like a laptop bag. We carry it with us on the mountains. And if on the mountain anyone gets acute mountain sickness because of the altitude, there is nothing you can do except bring the person down as soon as possible. Sometimes that's not possible because of the weather conditions. So you open this up, you inflate it with your deck pump, and you put the sick climber into that of about 5,000 to 6,000 feet and helps you buy time to get that sick climber off the mountains. I live in Mumbai, not the ideal playing ground for someone who wants to climb mountains. And I started getting panicky. Now, what should I do to climb this mountain and prepare myself? And I was lucky to find this gymnasium. And in this gymnasium, this audio in this. In this gymnasium, while I go into this chamber, I work out for about an hour or two, and it simulates sort of altitude of about 10,000 feet, so that before I actually get onto the mountains, I'm already acclimatized to 10,000 feet. I work in a hospital that has 16 stories. I don't use the lift, so I climb up, climb down. I stopped using the car. I would walk to work, walk back, and that's how I tried to build my training schedule into my work schedule. I shall introduce you to our team. We were 5 people and just happened to be from 5 different continents. And this was my team. We're a truly international team. The first person is Sean Mooney. Now, Sean Mooney was the Canadian chess boxing champion. I had never heard of this sport earlier. So apparently you box in the ring. And when the 2 opponents are supposed to go to their quarters to rest, a chessboard is brought into the center of the ring. You play chess for 4 minutes, and again you start boxing. So the ultimate mental and physical endurance game. The next person in our group was from Australia. Kevin Fairbrother had successfully summited this mountain earlier, but this time he was attempting to summit the mountain without oxygen. So far in the world, just about 100, 150 people have done that. On the last day, unfortunately, he got too breathless, so he just put on his oxygen and he continued and did the summit with oxygen, and it became his second successful summit at this mountain. The youngest in our group was Patrick from Ireland. 24 years old, thin, wiry guy, extremely athletic, and a vegan. So the Sherpas found it very difficult. What do you feed this guy on the mountains? So they would give him a powder. They used to say, put sugar, put water, mix it and have it. And towards the end of the trip, they told him this is called champa, and this is what they feed the bulls and the yaks on the mountains with. Once we were walking at around 20,000 feet, when our team leader got a message on the satellite phone telling us that Patrick's eldest brother had died in an avalanche in the United States. We thought that's the end of his trip. He's going to go back. But he was very practical about it. He said it's going to take at least 5 days to get back to the United States from where we were, by which time all the formalities would be over. So he said he'll continue climbing and do the summit in honor of his dead brother, and he continued climbing with us. The eldest in the group, the only Indian, the only doctor was myself, and the only lady in our group was someone from South Africa. So Lee Den Hon was climbing for the HIV children of South Africa. And because of that, we had a lot of media attention on our team. And they filmed us all the way up to Everest Base Camp. And once a week, we were shown on TV in South Africa, and people from there were phoning in and pledging funds for the children with HIV. Now, Now, if you want to get into the Himalayan region near Everest, you have to take a small flight from Kathmandu to this airport called Lucknow. This is considered one of the most dangerous airports in the world. It's at 9,000 feet elevation, and it's got just a 400-meter short runway. At one end, you can see where the plane is coming in is a deep valley, and where we are filming it from is a big mountain. So this pilot has one attempt at a proper landing or a proper takeoff, and it's a very exciting flight to do in and out of Lucknow. Everything that you need for your expedition comes in on these flights, including your equipment, the food, everything. Now, this airport is not open throughout the day. It's open just for a few hours when there are no clouds, when the winds are down. So the planes all come in, they try to do a quick turnaround and get out as soon as possible, otherwise they'll get stuck in bad weather. So it becomes pretty crowded during the day. And you can see here, now this plane has come in. Now, as it comes onto the tarmac to park, you'll see the other passengers just waiting outside on the tarmac itself. The passengers inside jump out, passengers outside jump in, and the plane takes off again. So this is coming here to park. That aircraft is going out to take off. You can see the passengers lined up over there near the building. Now this plane gets ready to go, but he stops because he sees another aircraft coming. So it's lovely. You can sit at this mountain top over here and watch these planes come in and go out. And if you all don't want to climb Mount Everest, at least see this flight in and out of Lucknow. It's a very exciting flight. You're flying low in the valley with huge mountains all around. And here you can see this plane comes out, that aircraft goes in, and then this turns around for a takeoff. And when this plane takes off, you'll actually notice that this runway is sloping. So that's the slope in the runway. So once you reach Lucknow, it's a totally different world. There are no more roads, there are no more vehicles, and everything that you need for your climb goes in on the back of these yaks or the Nepali porters. These Nepali porters, phenomenally strong people. They carry these massive loads and still walk 2 to 3 times faster than you can walk. From Lucknow at 9,000 feet, you have to get to Everest Base Camp at 17,000 feet. You have to take it easy because if in your enthusiasm you rush in, you'll get acute mountain sickness, and that's the end of your climb. So you take it, the dictum being that you'll not ascend more than 1,000 feet in a day, and you take it easy, and it takes approximately a week for you to get to Everest Base Camp. Initially, you cross a lot of forest area, a lot of waterfalls, and you have these lovely suspension bridges which you need to get across. Of course, the prayer stones, etc. And whenever you go to a foreign country, you always respect the local custom. So when you see the Tibetan prayers, you keep it on your right, you move it in a clockwise direction, and your prayers go up to the heavens. So once you go higher and higher and enter Sagarmatha National Park region, it's all, the scenario changes. It's now ice, rock, and snow. At a place called Rinpoche, the highest spiritual leader of Nepal, he resides over there and he does a special puja, blessing us for a safer onward journey. And we continue on our trek towards the base camp. Now you can see the person with the green haversack is me, the one with the blue haversack is Lee. And in the center there, you can see 2 peaks and a lovely clear blue sky. You think it's a lovely day to summit this mountain. Okay, you can see the plume coming off the peaks. That means the jet streams are there at the peak. And this is not a day you'll be able to successfully summit this mountain. Before we get to Everest Base Camp, we come to a place called Monument Hill. Our team leader makes us sit down there and gives us a serious telling that this is serious business you're getting into. Accidents are a reality on this mountain. And every stone pile that you see over there is called Jordan, and each one represents a climber that's lost his or her life while attempting to summit the mountain. So it's a serious business. You want to turn back, now's the time to turn back. And then you reach Everest Base Camp at 17,600 feet. This international village of tents comes up only during the climbing season. And the entire region is actually a glacier. So we pitched up tents on a glacier over here. The one in the foreground, the yellow tent, is mine. And it's a very unique experience to sleep on a glacier. I'm sleeping tonight over here. When I get up in the morning, my tent has gone somewhere else. I'm sleeping in my tent. Once I was sleeping in the night and I could suddenly hear water trickling under my tent and gushing under my tent. So I ran out. I told my Sherpa, I've got water under my tent. He said, obviously, this is a glacier. Go back to sleep. So things that are very common with the mountain people, but a unique experience for us city people. Temperatures vary from -20 to +20. You suddenly get these ice formations that come up in front of your tent, and a few hours later, they disappear. We've also been told that Everest has become the world's highest garbage dump. Yes, it was true, but the Nepal government took this seriously and they incentivized the climbers and the Sherpas. And the Sherpas rushed up, got back all the old oxygen cylinders, everything has been taken off the mountains, and today the mountain is much, much cleaner. Not just that, we also give a garbage deposit to the Nepal government, and they send in a campsite inspector. So this lady was a campsite inspector, and she confirms that all the garbage, all the equipment, everything comes off the mountain when you finish your expedition, including human refuse. And only after that will they give back the garbage deposit to your team. This is our dining tent. It was the relatively warm area for us at Everest Base Camp. A lot of high energy foodstuffs, high energy drink on the table. You're supposed to keep yourself well hydrated and eat a lot of proteins and carbs over there. And again, thanks to the Nepali cooks, we had fantastic food at Everest Base Camp. And on special occasions, they even made sizzlers for us. Now, before we actually start climbing Mount Everest, a Tibetan monk comes and again does a puja. This puja is to seek permission of Sagar Mata, which is the revered mountain, for us to step onto her. And only after this puja do the Sherpas allow us to step onto Mount Everest and actually start our climb up towards the summit. This is taken from a point called Kalapathar, just next to Everest Base Camp. The one on the left is Everest, and the other peak is Mount Mukse at sunset. And I should show you now in 3D animation what's the route we take up to the summit, and then show you the actual visuals. So the most dangerous part of our climb is actually the first part, that is from Everest Base Camp to Camp 1, because you have to get across something called the Khumbu Ice Fall. This Khumbu Ice Fall are towering blocks of ice, 5, 10 feet, 10 stories tall, that are coming off. These are all moving structures. It changes day by day. There's a lot of crevice crossings that you have to do, a lot of ladder crossings that you have to do. So you get across this Khumbu Ice Fall, you reach Camp 1, you spend a night at Camp 1, come back down the next day across the Khumbu Ice Fall, and again come back to base camp. You again start the whole process, get across the Khumbu Ice Fall, get to Camp 1, spend a night there, and now you proceed towards Camp 2. Camp 1 to Camp 2 looks like a lovely flat area, but you are at 20,000 feet. The oxygen level there is just 50% that compared to sea level. So it's very laborious, even at 20,000 feet, to sort of walk steadily over there. The other thing is that we always start climbing early morning around 4 a.m., 5 a.m. when it's extremely cold. So you have all your layers on you. But as the sun comes up, it gets reflected off the snow and hits you, and you start feeling hot. So you start sweating. The problem is that the moment the sun goes behind a cloud, the temperature plummets and the sweat on your body turns to ice. You can't allow that to happen. So you keep removing your layers, keep putting on your layers, and gradually get across from Camp 1 to Camp 2. You get to Camp 2, you spend a night there, again come back to Camp 1 one night, and come back all the way down to Everest Base Camp. This is the only way that your body acclimatizes to the high altitude. You start again, Camp 1 one night, Camp 2 one night, and now you proceed towards Camp 3. Camp 2 to Camp 3 is again a very difficult segment because you have to cross something called the Lhotse Face. This is just solid blue ice that is extremely steep, that you have to keep climbing and climbing for about 6 to 8 hours to reach Camp 3. And this is where it actually hit me. I am doing this on a whim. At any point of time, if the journey gets too difficult, I can pack up and go home. But what about our cancer patients? However difficult their journey, they just have to keep fighting on. They just have to keep laboring on. There's no turning back for them. That gave me strength, and I continue climbing. You reach Camp 3, you spend a night there, again come all the way back down to Everest Base Camp. You have to keep doing this for about 3 to 4 weeks, and only after you acclimatize your body that you get across into something called the dead zone at 26,000 feet, which is Camp 4. Now your body is dying. Your muscles are wasting. You are not supposed to be at that altitude. So you stay there as short as possible time. You put on your oxygen. You start climbing in the evening, hoping to reach the summit sometime in the morning the next day. Spend a few moments at the summit and again come quickly back to Camp 4. So the last day, your climb is going to be a continuous 20 to 24 hours climb because if you stop anywhere, you'll get hypothermic, you have limited oxygen supply, you get hypoxic, or you just be blown off the mountains. So you have to get there and get back as soon as possible. Now, these are the actual visuals of how we are climbing from base camp to Camp 1 across the Kumbu Ice Fall. Early morning, it's a very pretty sight. You can see over there, each climber with his or her headlight getting across this. And this is the Kumbu Ice Fall. You can see how small I am over there with these huge towering rocks of ice. It is nature at its stark, naked best, but it's very scary, but very, very beautiful. Here you can see the mountain behind me is called Mount Fumori. It's the daughter mountain of Mount Everest. And all the visuals that you're seeing are taken with the GoPro camera, which is mounted on our helmet. We also carry something called the Spot, which is a GPS device, so that back home, family and friends can follow me on Google Maps and know exactly on the mountain where I am. So I can't tell my wife I'm climbing Mount Everest and go into Bangkok. She'll catch me immediately. The red button that we have there is the SOS button. So in case you're in trouble anytime, you press this SOS button, and depending upon the weather conditions and depending where on the mountain you are, they try to send in rescue teams and help you out. This was when I was doing my training climb at a place called towards Island Peak. The person behind me at this point, she actually slipped and fractured her ankle. So I strapped her leg onto the regular leg. We sort of put these haversacks to protect her from the wind. We pressed that button, and within about 4 hours, we had this helicopter come in and try to rescue her. Of course, we had to bring her down to a place where the helicopter could land. We put her into the helicopter. She was evacuated to Kathmandu, and the same evening, she got her ankle fixed in Kathmandu. So it actually works. This is again coming back to the Kumbu Ice Fall. You can see this. This part is called the popcorn segment because it looks like popcorn. I summited in 2013, and in 2014, exactly at this point, an avalanche happened and 16 Sherpas lost their lives. So that year, the entire climbing season was abandoned. As I said, it's an extremely pretty place to be. A lot of ladder crossings to do. So, but I can't sit down here and take a selfie or ask someone to take a photo of me because at any moment that whole thing will come crashing down and collapsing on me. So your Sherpas try to rush you through this segment and get you across it as soon and as safe as possible. Whenever we see a helicopter going beyond Everest Base Camp, it's going for a rescue mission. So this is another time we saw a helicopter rescuing a climber. Can you see the climber? That is the climber. So sometimes the helicopter cannot land, so they throw down this rope, you rope in the injured climber, and as a sling operation, the climber is brought down to base camp, then put into the helicopter and evacuated to Kathmandu. So this is again part of the popcorn segment. And we have a lot of crevice crossings to do. So that I'm doing a crevice crossing, and the person behind me, he is Neymar, he is my personal Sherpa, literally my guardian angel on this mountain. And if he tells me to walk, I will walk. If he says, don't go on that way, I don't go on that way. I have implicit faith in this Sherpa, hopefully the same way as our patients have that implicit faith in us. So here I'm doing a ladder crossing, and this, depending on the width of the crevice, you put two, three ladders like this, they tie together, they throw it across the crevice, and you cross the crevice. So this is what it looks like to do a crevice crossing. This is again taken from the GoPro camera. So like this. Sometimes you see the bottom of the crevice, sometimes you don't see the bottom. It didn't matter, I was scared either ways. And many times, even though we are climbing up, we have to climb down to find a safer way to climb up again. And it gets very frustrating because it's not like over here, okay, I just climb up there, run down and climb up again. Every step you take is laborious, you get breathless over there. And here I'm supposed to be climbing down a ladder, but because of the snow conditions, the ladder is sort of covered with snow. You can't see the rungs. So it gets a little tricky at times to do this crevice crossings. So, but this is the only way to do it. And here again, I'm doing another crevice crossing. Initially, it takes you about 6 to 8 hours to get across the Popo ice fall. But we do it so many times during the season, and towards the end, we get much faster at doing it. Again, as I said, 10% faith in your guide. If he tells me that this will hold, it's safe to get across the segment, I will get across the segment. If he says, no, don't go there, I will not go there. And I might go up this way, but when I'm coming down, this whole thing would have collapsed. So the shepherd will find another way across, and I find another safer way to get down and come down again. And every time we get across this Popo ice fall, it's a different route, it's a different path, it's a different scenario. So extremely interesting, but yes, it is dangerous. So we get across the Popo ice fall and reach Camp 1, which is at 19,500 feet. At 19,500 feet, from now onwards, the Sherpas don't cook for you. You carry on your utensils and make your food serves down to Maggie noodles. The first time I went to Camp 1, we got caught in a blizzard. It's extremely scary to be caught in a blizzard. You're alone in your tent. You spread yourself out on the base of the tent, hoping it doesn't get blown away. Time doesn't move. You don't know how long the blizzard is going to last. You sort of try to doze off. You get up thinking 3 to 4 hours have passed. You look at your watch, 10 minutes have passed. Howling winds. So you can't speak with the person in the other tent because they don't hear you. And you just keep scooping up snow, boiling it, and keeping yourself well hydrated. And after 2 nights that we got up to a clear blue sky like this, and I could again come back to base camp. This is what it looks like during a blizzard. You dare not step out of your tent. We always carry 2 bottles with us, the Nalgene bottle, which is for fluids to drink, and the pee bottle, which is the pee bottle. At night, it's too dangerous to get out of your tent again to go and pee, so you use pee in this bottle, open the zip of your tent a little, empty it out, keep it ready for the next episode. Now, I didn't know I was supposed to do that, so the next time I got up to use my pee bottle, it was frozen and I could not use it again. This is Camp 2 at 21,000 feet. You can see a helicopter there. And this is the highest point a helicopter will go to. So beyond this, if anyone needs a helicopter rescue, you have to bring that injured climber down at least to this camp and hope for a rescue depending again upon the weather conditions. And now we start climbing the Lhotse face, which I said, which is extremely difficult. It's a very steep segment that we need to get across. The person in yellow is me. And here we start. So you see, it's so slippery over there because as the snow falls down on it, it gets blown away. So you can't, I'm wearing crampons on my shoes, the spikes on my shoes. But that's like walking on slippery rock. So you have to keep dig, get a small chink, get your grip, and then take the next step. And keep going higher and higher. This is 4 of us, the 5th one taking the photograph. You can see Camp 2 way down there over there. And we keep going higher and higher, and we have something called the Z-band. So this Z-band is a constant feature on the mountain that can be seen from the planes flying overhead. We get above the clouds and we reach Camp 3. Camp 3 is a ledge that's dug into the side of the mountain. It's just going to be 3 of us in a tent now, so there are 2 tents pitched up, and you can see the snow there swirling around because you are totally exposed to the elements and the winds. It's extremely windy over there, and this is at 24,000. You can see someone taking off his socks. At the end of the day, however tired you are, you take out then your socks, you wipe the sweat off between your toes and put on a fresh pair of dry socks. Because if you don't look after these little details, you can get frostbite, etc. There's a saying on the mountain, it's not the mountain that kills you, it is the pedal in your shoes. So take care of the little details and the big picture automatically falls into place. So we do this up and down continuously to acclimatize ourselves. And then we get news of when that weather window will be, where the summit window will be, when we can reach the summit. And we were told that anytime after May 18th in that year was the summit window. So our team leader chose May 19th as the summit date. And now we'll go directly from base camp 1, 2, 3, hit the summit and come back down. So it'll take approximately a week to go up and come back down again. We won't be going up and down, up and down. So we go towards the Camp 4, which is called the dead zone. This is at 26,000 feet. And you reach there. this was at sunset, we reached at 26,000. Peak Freaks, that was the name of my team. And we put on our oxygen, we lie down in the tent, and you try to get some sleep. The thing is that you are 26,000 feet, you got something called chain stroke breathing. So you doze off, it's a reflex that you stop breathing because there's such low oxygen over there. And suddenly the carbon dioxide levels keep rising in your body, it kicks in, and then you suddenly get up gasping for breath. So you can't sleep. You're supposed to keep yourself well hydrated over there, but because of the altitude, you feel nauseous. So you can't keep the fluids down. So it's pretty miserable at that point over there, and extremely windy again. You can see we sleep with the oxygen, and these are our two titanium oxygen cylinders that we carry with us, which are extremely light. And on the 17th evening over here, I'm getting ready for the summit push, and Mingma is checking my oxygen. On the last day, you'll carry only two oxygen cylinders, a bottle of water, 1 or 2 bars of chocolate, and your camera, and we set out. So we set out on May 18th evening from Camp 4 at around 7 o'clock, and you can see a lot of people had chosen the same day for the summit. So a lot of us were leaving together from Camp 4 at 7 o'clock. But by 7:30, I was exhausted. And I didn't know how I was going to do this. And again, this is where teamwork comes in. Each one sort of pushing the other and saying, one more step, one more step. And you keep putting one step in front of the other and continue climbing. At around 9 o'clock, to make matters worse, my headlight packed up. And I shouted out to my team leader and I said, I don't have lights. So he said, you continue climbing or turn back. But again, teamwork. Thanks to Mingmar in front and Lee behind me, who kept throwing light and showing me the way. You don't need light so much to see where to put your foot and climb. It is to change the ascender from one line to the other. You're wearing your gloves, you're wearing your mitts. It was minus 36 on that night when I was climbing. And if you have light, it just makes it a lot easier. The only time we stopped was at a place called the balcony at 2 a.m. where you remove your whole oxygen cylinder, put on the fresh one, and then have a bar of chocolate, and you again set out and climb. So the entire night you're climbing and climbing, you're more like a zombie. And the only thing to enthuse you again is the early morning sunrise. For a change, you see the sun rising from below you and coming up into the horizon. And it sort of warms you, and you know that you've done the bulk of your climb behind you, and somewhere ahead is the summit. What a perfect day had been chosen. Not a cloud in the sky, there was hardly any winds. It was a perfect day to be on the summit of Mount Everest. I'm not ashamed to say when I was coming to rocky segments like this, I would literally crawl across because I was so exhausted, then again stand up and climb up and keep climbing. This is it. We saw something called the pyramid. If you are somewhere near the summit of Mount Everest on a clear day, you see the shadow of the mountain on the Nepal Valley. It looks like a perfect pyramid, and we were lucky to capture this on camera. So you keep climbing and climbing, and even though I've done the entire night climbing, I still cannot see the summit of Mount Everest in the morning. I see something called the South Summit. And this is the South Summit over here. And when I reach the South Summit, that way above over there, you can actually see the summit of Mount Everest. So that's me coming onto the South Summit. And now we have two obstacles remaining. The first one is called the ridge. Now this is the ridge, a very narrow segment that you need to get across. And on the left side is the Nepal Valley. To the right is the China Valley. So it's a very narrow segment and climbers are crisscrossing. So one of you has to unhook from the safety line, get across the climber and again hook back onto the safety line. I was extremely nervous at this point and I asked my Sherpa, if I slip, should I slip this side or this side? So he said, fall to the right, fall to the right. The fall to the left is 8,000 feet. The fall to the right is 12,000 feet. So you live longer. So fall to the right. No laughing matter when you're over there. So anyway, I get across it, and then the last obstacle remaining is the Hillary step. This Hillary step is a bare rock face, vertical rock face, about 40 feet high, that you have to haul yourself above, straddle it, and get across to the other side. And even though it's just 40 feet, it took me more than 20 minutes to sort of pull myself up, straddle that the rock, and get across to the other side. And when you reach the other side, you know, you can see the summit in front of you, and you know that you're going to reach the summit of Everest. So however athletic you are, you cannot go faster than this. So every step you take, you have to stop, take a breath, get your breath back, then take the next step. See, even now it's so clear over there. See, one step, stop, next step, stop. That's the summit of Mount Everest. Thank you. On May 19th at 9:10 a.m. 2013, I had the privilege of standing on top of the world. But there's no time to celebrate over there because you have to come back to safety. You've got limited oxygen supply. The weather changes in a degree. So you remove your goggles, you remove your oxygen mask, everything you remove. You have to photograph yourself on the summit. Otherwise, the Nepal government doesn't acknowledge that you reached the summit. You quickly take your photos and you start coming down. You can see when I was climbing up just a few moments earlier, it was clear, but now you can see the clouds coming back. The other thing that's playing on your mind is that most of deaths on Mount Everest happen while you're climbing down, not while you're climbing up. Anyone who dies in the death zone, that's above 26,000 feet, the bodies remain there. And depending upon the snow conditions, the ice conditions, you sometimes see them, you sometimes don't see them. And this was a Japanese climber who died a few years ahead. So it's a stark reminder of the danger you are in. You just say a silent prayer and then you continue climbing. And you sort of crawl into your tent. I came back to my tent around 6 o'clock the next evening, 23 hours of grueling climbing. You are so tired, but you just breathe in your oxygen. Next day, early morning, you get up early, bypass Camp 3, come to Camp 2, and that's where I had a nice hot cup of tea again. You spend the day over there at Camp 2. Next day, you get up early, bypass Camp 1, get across the Kumbu Ice Fall for the last time, and you come back to base camp. And when you reach base camp, you let it sink in that you have successfully succeeded in summiting this mountain, and celebrations start. But while we are celebrating over there, we got a message saying that a storm is coming in, so get out of base camp soon. So we called in a helicopter to get us out of Everest base camp. So you can fly from base camp down that way, from 18,000 feet down sea level. But you should not fly up because if you suddenly fly from Kathmandu to base camp, you're coming in suddenly to 17,000 feet, you get acute mountain sickness and it could be dangerous. So this is again taking off from Everest base camp. And you can see this is takeoff. And now the pilot will just follow the valley and come lower and lower down. You can see we are following this glacier and coming down and down. And we're doing this to get out of the clouds that are going to come. But you can see that over here it is
Yeah, there's a ski to the South Pole. Not
So,
Keto.
South Pole. So are there anything left out for you?
In April, I'm going hopefully to the North Pole.
Well,